Hello, and welcome to another episode of Scavenger Life. This is episode number 389 at scavengerlife.com.
Hello from Orlando.
Land of beautiful weather.
Yep. So we are in Orlando from a week of work.
Yes.
We're about to hop on the Amtrak to go home.
Sleeper car.
We thought we would record this podcast so this could get in on time.
So how is the sleeper car coming down, do you think?
We would never do it again.
Why?
I don't think that it was that bad, but it definitely, if you've ever been on a train in Europe or in Asia,
Yeah.
I mean, they're like modern trains and modern conveniences.
Yeah.
The Amtrak is like, it felt like kind of like the 80s.
Yeah, it was old. I mean, the service was great. The guy who was our attendant was
Yeah.
awesome.
But it's like a really tiny little
small
room where you do have beds to sleep in, which is great, but it's not fancy at all, and it's just better to fly. I mean,
it's faster,
It's
obviously.
kooky. We didn't fly, but it was just an experience to have.
We were like, let's just try it, you know? And
I think America and train travel just does not go well together these days.
I wish it wasn't true, but
Yep.
it is.
Okay, so we wanted to talk about something that I thought was interesting that we've been talking about on the forum, and that is like having a career, like a life when you have a career and a life when you don't have a career.
Okay, interesting.
So on the forum, Inglewood,
Yes.
he's from Canada. Him and his wife, he started a thread. He called it the Journal of Escape, and so he's going, and we'll put a link to it on the blog. And he's going to like keep us updated because he plans to probably be out of his job relatively soon.
Okay.
And he says, I'm currently waiting to be made redundant at a dead company that is retaining me to sit around in a warehouse all day.
Ooh.
I'm getting paid very well to do almost nothing. And the bonus at the end is great, along with the government benefits for losing my job. So he'll get like a severance, I guess.
Yeah.
Therefore, the best decision is just to wait it out. I mean, to me, when I hear that, it sounds like the opening of a movie about like late stage capitalism, you know?
Right.
Yeah. These like working for a company where no one really knows what they're doing or how anyone's making any money.
But they're still getting paid.
Yeah, and you got benefits and just sit it out till it's done, you know? And it's just so
smart
interesting.
though, right?
But it's like Office Space, you know, like
Right.
that movie Office Space.
Can you come in on Sunday?
Yeah, but it's interesting, you know. I mean, I know some people have jobs that they love, and we need people to work,
Right.
to have jobs that they love.
Look,
you know?
some people love their
Nurses,
jobs.
Yeah,
Like, okay, that's fine.
But it's so interesting. Him and his wife, they sell on eBay, and they've been selling long enough, and they're like, "This is what
We'd rather
gonna
do this."
And
yeah.
he's got a whole like plan. They're going to sell their current house and move somewhere that's cheaper in a rural area.
Yes, they're
you
not
know.
just going to stay put.
You know, they've been saving up, all that stuff. They have a business, an eBay business that's going. That's not exactly what I just want to talk about. What's interesting to me is we started talking about when your career is your identity. And I've said this before, I don't know if it's true. I feel like for men it might be more true.
Interesting.
I don't know how you feel about this, but I know when we went full-time still on eBay, I struggled with that quite a bit. With like, okay, so this, you know, we were like these video people and we were working for TV and, you know,
tech companies.
I'm a producer, and now like I'm selling old shoes on the internet. Like,
Out of a basement.
Like that's more really what I'm doing than this other thing. Like,
Right.
And I struggled with that. Like, what's my identity?
Or you're like, why did I put all the time in to have these other skills when I'm just going to sell stuff on the internet? But, I mean, you know, we could talk about this all day. But to build a business, one of our friends, you know, that's at this like conference thing that we're at, you know, one of our friends here was like, you know, there are certain people who don't understand how to, you know, use an eBay business to turn it into like 5 pieces of property that are other businesses. And you're like, yeah, that, you know, in a bigger picture. But at the time, we didn't know that's what we were doing,
Right.
but we started.
We were just
doing
making
that.
a couple $100 a month selling,
Right.
yeah.
But sure.
But but I do think that many people have their identity tied to what their job is.
Sure.
And I don't know, I feel like that's a very American thing.
It's really
too.
hard for me to talk about it because
Right.
I'm just like, I don't.
Well, because you
just
never
like, I
really
don't-
did that
Right.
because you started doing all this when you were, relatively young.
Yeah.
Without having, you didn't have to like put in all those years like
Right.
being this other thing,
Right. So, we.
But you do
Yeah.
know it's what I'm talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Where,
Absolutely.
you go to like a party
Right.
and people are like,
What do you do?
what do you do?
And they don't mean, what do you do on the weekends for fun? They mean, what do you do to make
Like,
money? What's your identity?
identity, right.
And we still ask people
Right.
that,
So, it's always interesting when people do come on a forum and they're like, I'm taking this big step
Right.
and I don't like my job.
Right.
I'm going to make my own business
Yep.
and sell things. And I think one of the biggest steps is to create an identity outside your job. I think that's one reason why we came up with the term scavenger.
Right.
I don't really,
Exactly.
I don't really tell people that,
Well, people don't understand what that
but
means.
I tell myself that.
I'm a trash elf.
I tell these people, I'm like, yeah, I'm a trash elf. I'm a scavenger. Like, that's what I do. It's like a productive...
I'm going to eat a road burger.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a productive member of society.
Yeah.
Like, I go through, there's all this waste and abundance.
Yeah.
I get it, and I give it to the people who want it, and they give me money, and then we do things with it,
Right.
That makes sense in my mind. Like,
Right.
I needed that to make sense.
Right, exactly. I mean, the good thing is I feel like a lot of people on our forum who do have full-time jobs or careers or whatever, they are on our forum for a reason, or you are listening to this podcast for a reason because you have...
You're looking for the people who are doing this and trying to... I mean, I think that a lot
Right.
of people are listening because they're looking for other people doing this and they're trying to figure out what it is we're all doing.
Right, what are we doing?
Because I think you go online and you look for people doing this like, I'm a hustler, I'm like an entrepreneur.
Right.
And those are all fine words. It just doesn't work for us. And so you get to pick what the term is of who you are.
Well, what's interesting, too, about the thread that you were talking about is, you get to this point where you're asking, why am I doing this? It's, once you have your, in air quotes, freedom and independence, it's like, why are you doing this? Is it because you want to spend more time gardening or spend more time with your family? Or, you have a different lifestyle where you're not sitting in an office 9 to 5, 5 to 7 days a week or whatever. So you have to have a larger picture or else you are just selling old shoes on the internet.
Absolutely.
And you know what? For some people, that might be fine. I sell stuff on the internet and that's what I do.
Yep.
But, I feel like a lot of us...
No, I think that's a...
You know what I mean?
I think that's a very
We've
good
always
point.
talked about that.
When you have a career, when I had a career, my life was the thing
That was
I was
it.
doing.
I'm doing
and
this
that
thing.
was really what I did with my time.
Right.
And then my off time was basically just trying to unwind
Right.
and get enough sanity to get back and do my career. And I think that is a different thing. For us, at least, our time is not spent doing the business. It's doing that enough to then, doing all these other things.
Yeah.
All these other things that people put off to when they retire. Like, we want to do that stuff now.
Right.
Like, take an overnight train.
Right, exactly.
It's like...
I mean, we are taking an overnight train to a job that's paying us money. It's not like we're like, let's just do this for fun right now.
Right.
So, yeah, I just, for me, it's fulfilling to, like, most of the time when we talk to people, we don't even tell them we sell on eBay. Just, whatever, people we meet. Because we're just like, do I want that to define me?
You know why? Because, like, honestly, I feel that it's not a thing you can tell people that would be
taken seriously.
recognized
It's not taken seriously.
or accepted as something that an adult human being does for a living.
It's really funny because we met someone here who has she works for this big tech company, but she also part-time. She's a part-time person, but
it was like we had a cool secret conversation.
Yeah.
Her real thing is she has a business where she makes and sells soap.
Right. And at first we were like, that's a hard game right there. But she's
really into it.
She has a Shopify store on her own site. She sells on Amazon. Someone sells for her on eBay, and she sells at Whole Foods.
Yeah.
So we were like, oh, I know we're at this tech conference and whatever, but like, let's talk about that. Yeah. It was really funny.
It was cool. Yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting to, when you meet those people, you're like, oh, we have like, you're like, we could talk about this like all day, you know, so it's interesting.
We wish Inglewood all the happiness and good luck.
I can't wait to,
I can't wait to see when his company actually cuts his job and he starts his life.
Well, the great thing is when it sounds like, and I've heard this from other people too, where they're like, I think this is about to happen, so I'm heavily preparing for it, and I'm not going to quit. I'm going to wait till I get, laid off, because that's when you get
made
redundant, which is a very like British and Canadian thing to say.
Made redundant.
We don't.
Yeah, here we're
redundancies.
Got laid off.
Yeah, so it's good to hear that they're definitely planning for that end game.
Okay, we have an update to something we talked about a week ago that has been bugging our store. That is, we had mentioned that all of our returns were getting automatically approved, and most of them are fine because, if someone doesn't have a problem, they just change their mind. Those get automatically approved. We had already done that. But the ones where someone was like, you've done something wrong, I want to return this.
Essentially.
Up until now, eBay has allowed us to approve that, which meant that we could just have, a couple days where we could
have a conversation, or if someone's like,
photos,
this ceramic mug broke, and you're like, great, let's.
This is where we can decide if we just like keep it. We'll give you your money.
Don't send back a broken mug
instead of it getting automatically approved. They print out a label and they send us
like I'm paying for a label
back.
For a broken.
Anyway, we were saying like, what's going on?
Yeah.
People last week were writing on a YouTube and on a forum about their experience about how this was affecting them.
Right.
And so we have learned in the summer update, in really small print, it says that this was happening.
It's called Simplified Returns. So I found this out because I called eBay. I was like, what is going on? Can you... and I said, please, like, tell me, was it in the seller update? And so she looked it up for me. She's like, yeah, it was in the summer update.
Right. We always like to see it in writing.
So that I can see what the rules are, So I feel like I remember seeing this in the summer update, but I didn't understand, like, even reading through it, I'm like... I feel like it wasn't like, this is auto approval. Like, we're just auto approving everything. Yeah. And there was an FAQ like, can I opt out of this? They're like, no, you can't.
And it's interesting because I thought when they were pushing free returns, which we have on our on all our stuff, that the carrot was, if you do free returns, we'll give you some room to negotiate with buyers when people want to send back items. Anyway, that's not happening. It's called Simplified Returns. Everything gets approved now.
It's just
no
like
matter
Amazon.
What. However, Mike from Atlanta and someone else told us that you can turn on a thing called an RMA number, right?
Yeah, so if you request an RMA number, which is like a return merchandise authorization, like on Amazon they have them, that you'll have a little bit more time to approve it
to send a label.
Yeah,
so we're unsure, but
I don't.
But did you go and turn that on?
Yeah, I turned it on. We got.
Where'd you turn it on at?
It's in your it's so annoying. You go onto your account thing. It's an old looking eBay page. You go to site preferences. And then you gotta search the page, return preferences, and then you open that, and then you do your return preferences.
And there's like a
little checkbox.
Checkbox, and for RMA number. And so this supposedly gives you 3 days to send a label,
which will give you time to have a conversation
to the
with
buyer,
someone.
and that will. But it's for any return. It's not just INADs.
It's for all returns.
So anyway,
so I do want to specify, if you have free returns turned on, you still have the choice. If someone says item not as described, and you get it and you're like, this is totally as described, you still, as a free returns person, you can say give a full refund, or select what to refund. So you're like, I'm not giving them their original shipping back because this thing is fine. And I've done that on a return recently, this week, and eBay backed me up. The user opened a case, in quotes, and they backed me up and said I didn't have to give them back their original shipping.
My point is simply, I just like having some level of control with returns.
Yep.
We approve every return
anyway.
We just like to, if people are unhappy, we just like to have a conversation, and we like to see photos if there's a problem.
If it's broken.
You know, all those things. And I just think eBay should let us have that kind of control. So we will see if, now that we have that RMA number turned on, if that will then give us the control we're asking for.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about our numbers for this week. We sold... so it's only Friday now, so we still have the rest of today and tomorrow. But so far this week, we have sold 38 things for about $1,500, which is...
And we had extended handling time on for half the week.
Much better from last week than those of you who heard. We said we had one of our worst weeks of the year where we made like $900 or something.
It's like so
$1,500 for not
good.
even a complete week is good for us.
Yeah.
I'm always impressed when people are posting some good numbers on the forum.
There was somebody who had, like, they didn't have very many things in their store, and they were like, I made $1,800 last week. I sold 100 items.
Awesome.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
That's insane.
Someone said that they sold 180 items.
Yeah, I was like, I don't even know what I would do.
Her average selling price was $14, so
she must have volume, like clothing, something in volume,
But it's good. So, that's just the way it is. Things we sold. Again, lots of bread and butter. We'll talk about some things that were interesting. So, the big one was when we were in New York during the summertime.
It was in August,
we had talked about this. We're just walking around the streets like we do in the evening time.
Looking at the garbage.
Yeah, we're taking like a leisurely walk.
Right.
But looking at the garbage.
Yeah.
We're in front of a real estate agency.
Fancy real estate
There's
agency.
like some boxes on the streets, and Ryan kicks a box, and it kind of like...
was heavy.
And it turned out it's like a transfer kit. It's like
it's for a fancy copier.
Right.
It's like some kind of like toner, laser, scanner part that you're like, this is worn out. I need a new one.
So they, I guess, didn't use it. They just put the brand new box out there.
It was brand new. It was sealed.
We sold it for $230 today. Awesome. And
plus $20 shipping.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things where you're like, what is this? Basically, I didn't even open the box, and we brought it back to the place we were staying and opened it up and looked it up, and we listed it right away because there were like stock photos online. Granted, it took however many months to sell, but $230.
But
I'll take it.
But it's one of those things where it's just like ticks all the boxes for being a scavenger. Yeah. Like, it's actual garbage.
Literally found it in the trash.
It's
brand new,
and it sells for a lot of money.
You're like,
it's like all those things. It's like that's the best.
Like if I lived in New York, like if we still lived in New York, probably in the tiniest apartment ever, I would just be like selling stuff in the trash.
We've talked about
and
this.
On Craigslist.
It's like
for free.
It's like our fantasy, and we always wonder people that live in New York, like just roam the streets and just sell,
finding gold in the trash.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
And then again, clothes, perfume, tools.
I gotta ship all this stuff when I get home.
Yeah,
this weekend.
That's right. Scavenger of the week. didn't
not
do any
scavenge because we were working on a video project
here in Atlanta. We did take a lot of walks where we are.
We're not in Atlanta. We're in Orlando.
I'm sorry. I said I was where?
Atlanta.
Oh, it's not Atlanta.
It sounds similar a little bit.
Orlando, which I really love.
Look, we stayed in downtown Orlando. We got an Airbnb.
Anyone that is from Orlando, we were actually in Mills 50.
Mills 50, North Colonial Town, that area. It was so cute. The weather was, right now the weather is perfect.
Yeah. All these, like, it's mid-century little bungalows.
Little bungalow houses.
Huge, big live oak trees, and we did a lot of walking in the neighborhoods.
There's a botanical garden you can go to.
Yep, and we did go to.
And we did go to.
And there was no trash.
It was great. We loved. There was some trash.
Yeah, we're talking about scavenging. We did.
Oh! Look, we shipped a bunch of stuff home. I needed to ship my. I have two tripods.
Okay.
I found the most perfect box.
Yep.
That was a scavenge. It was an L-shaped box.
That's true.
I was like, this box was made for me.
Good for you, kid.
So I was excited.
Customer issues. We got a couple of returns just for fit. Clothes where people just
Stuff
said it didn't fit. No problem. Automatically approved. They'll get their money.
It's fine.
All good. We have free returns, so we'll lose like one coat. We'll probably lose $8 on it or something.
It's a bummer. But, whatever.
Free returns actually has not been the apocalypse we thought it was, so we're
You're not
losing.
getting, people want their stuff.
But I do wonder, the people that sell only clothes, I'm always interested, I'll ask them, I'm like, don't you get a lot of returns then? They're like, no, we get a couple every month.
That's amazing.
I'm like, we don't sell that many clothes, but we definitely always get a couple
returns,
every month.
Yeah.
And, it's just amazing to me, people that only do clothes and they sell a lot,
Yeah.
They're like volume, that they're not getting 10, 20 returns every month.
I don't know.
I heard a girl on the train. We were somewhere, and she was talking about buying clothes, and she says, yeah, I just buy them on Amazon.
Yeah.
And then it return them.
The ones that I don't want
it's
for
free. I buy all the ones I think I might want.
Of course.
I try them on, and then I mail them back.
That's why Amazon's a nightmare for sellers.
Yeah, wow.
For certain sellers.
Okay, things we learned in the forum. We had a thread on, it happens at the end of every year. It started a bit early.
Yes.
What people will do differently in 2019.
This was a great thread.
Yeah, it's an ongoing.
Other people start these threads. It's not like we're being motivational speakers here.
Yeah.
It's like these are people on the forum starting it.
It's an ongoing thread.
Yeah.
And, a lot of it's pretty typical. I just wanted to put more stuff in my store.
Right. List
I want
more.
To raise the price of the items I sell, so stop buying stuff that sells for $10. And, I think for most of our community, our kind of people, it's $50 is a good
solid
price point.
Yeah.
And that's a really high price for an item that you find on a regular basis. I think $50.
Right.
I think $30 for us is kind of the average, but at $50 it would be good.
Yeah.
But it's interesting too. Some people were talking about how they're going to rearrange their shipping area and make it a little more professional.
Yep.
Some people were talking about doing better inventory.
Oh God, that's me.
Actually going through and putting numbers.
Right.
And then some people were actually mixing in a work and life balance.
Yep.
I want to walk. I mean, not me personally, although it is a good idea.
Although you do want to do this.
Someone says that, I just want to walk a mile a day or
every business day with no exceptions.
Right.
And I looked at that and I was like, we need to do that.
Yeah,
Our neighborhood's exactly a mile in a loop.
Yeah.
Duh.
So, those are good things. I guess at the end of every a year, it gives you the opportunity to set some goals to
right.
So
it's a reset.
Things don't become just a blur.
2019. Did you ever think you'd be alive in 2019?
Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds so, when you were a little kid growing up in the 70s, you're 2019.
I do remember.
Going to wear silver clothing.
The year 2000 happened.
Yep.
I remember exactly where I was and just thinking wow.
It's the year 2000.
And it's wow, the year 2019. And actually the other day I was so if I live to be a normal
when am I
going
to die, basically?
Yeah.
What year am I basically going to die?
Let me see. I'll do it right now. 2040, I think would be like,
like roughly.
If I live to be 80.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I hope you
2040.
live longer than that. Jesus. I mean,
2040.
So you were born in 73.
No.
You were born in 70. So if you live to be 100, you live to 2073.
That's cool. Well, or maybe the singularity will happen.
And you'll never die.
Yep. We'll either be the last generation to die,
or the first generation to live forever. Come on, millennials.
Welcome to the singularity.
Let's do this.
Okay, and one last thing in the forum. We had a call from someone. It was Anna from Georgia. And she had just said she liked the show and that she had a podcast. And we said, why didn't
What's your podcast?
So she actually wrote in, and her podcast is called the Doing Scary Things Podcast.
What an awesome
We just thought we wanted
idea.
to mention it. If
everyone go listen to it.
It's her and her friend, and they actually make music, and they just talk about... she sells on eBay, because it's flexible and it's your own thing. And then her time is spent making music. So go check it out.
Oh, that's awesome!
Doing Scary Things Podcast.
I have to reinstall my podcast app on my phone because I deleted it.
Really?
It kept auto downloading all your podcasts. It was really annoying. So I need to do that.
Need to get your own sign in.
I know. Okay, let's move on.
Okay. So we are not going to take calls today
because we're about to jump on a train.
But we will for next week. Do you want to tell people how to send in a call?
Yes, you can email us an audio file. Our email is thescavengerlife@gmail.com. I'm sure there's someone who has the Gmail account scavengerlife.com that's getting tons of emails from us over the last couple of years. Or you can call the voicemail line at any time of day or night. The phone number is 540-407-8486. And that is it for the podcast today. Being edited on a train, uploaded on a train. You can check out the blog at scavengerlife.com for the links we discussed and to join the conversation on the forum. Again, you can call our voicemail line. The phone number is 540-407-8486. We post an episode every Monday morning. On Wednesday, we post a What Sells video by Steven Schultz. He sells the coolest stuff. You can subscribe to our Patreon account. That link is on the sidebar. It helps pay our server costs. You can subscribe through iTunes or YouTube for free, so you always get the latest episode. We are ending this podcast in 3, 2, 1. Bye.